Though 2025 was a fine year for gaming, the precarious state of the industry has made it easy to feel a sense of doom and gloom about what the immediate future holds. And while there are many valid reasons to be concerned about the wider health of gaming as an art form, it is important to escape the doom scroll trap and remember that it isn't all bad news. For every problem facing the industry, there are many reasons to be optimistic about what is coming next, and in particular, what's coming next over the next 12 months. 2026 has the potential to be a banner year for the medium, and one that restores some of the much-needed hope to developers and players at large. We'll only know for sure whether all this promise paid off a year from now, but as we stand on the precipice of 2026, there is a lot to look forward to. So let's have a chat. As I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are 10 reasons that 2026 will be the best year for gaming. Number 10. Classic franchises are back with a vengeance. Much as we all love sinking our teeth into a glorious original IP, and more on that later, the return of a classic franchise is definitely tough to resist. And oh boy, 2026 is going to be one hell of a year for beloved franchises that have been sitting on the sidelines for far too long. To name just a few, we're going to see new installments of Resident Evil, Fable, Gears of War, Neo, Onimusha, Forza Horizon, A Plague Tale, and of course, Grand Theft Auto. That is to say, the next 12 months are going to be a veritable smorgasbord of popular IP coming back to the forefront. And thankfully, from what we've seen so far, pretty much all of these games seem primed to deliver on or above player expectations. Again, we'll all want 2026 to serve up some new delicious IPs, but with all the will in the world, these new franchise titles will feel far more than perfunctory cash grabs. Number 9. Current gen consoles finally reaching full maturity. Now, there's no denying that the current generation of games consoles got off to a slow start, and frankly, one could argue that it still doesn't feel like the PS5 and Xbox Series X are being utilized to their full potential. But there's a strong possibility that 2026 marks something of an inflection point for Sony and Microsoft's hardware, given that they will likely be their final year in the market before next-gen consoles are then announced. Traditionally, consoles reach full maturity in the final year or two before their successor launches. This is the point at which developers have become best accustomed to a system's hardware quirks and are best positioned to deliver their most visually stunning and technically impressive titles. Big, splashy swan song games tend to be some of the most fondly remembered of just about any console, and so 2026 should hopefully see developers making the absolute most of the tech inside these boxes.
Hey, whoa. I know that you're enjoying this video. Hope you're having a great time enjoying whatever this is. But at the same time, if you're enjoying it that much, then hey, why don't you subscribe? Come on, guys. Come on, help me out. It helps the team out as well. You can take part in joining the FGS family. And also, it means that every single day you'll be fed all of our daily gaming content. What a treat. Now get out of here. Get out of your way.
Number 8. Unreal Engine 5 hopefully gets better. The potential of Unreal Engine 5 speaks for itself. Since being launched in 2021, it's proven that it can serve up mind-bogglingly gorgeous visuals, but many Unreal Engine 5 games have also suffered from optimization and compatibility issues, meaning that even those with beefy rigs can't necessarily run them reliably. The discourse surrounding Unreal Engine 5 is extremely divided, with some laying the blame at the feet of inexperienced developers, while others question whether the engine is yet ready for ambitious open world projects. But UE5 is at least getting better with each passing year, and so that will definitely be true in 2026. You see, 2026 will mark 5 years that developers have been working with Unreal Engine 5, effectively the average development time of a AAA game. Plus, with the engine's recent 5.7 update offering a significant performance boost, players should see those returns reflected in games released over the next 12 months. Now, there will surely still be kinks that need ironing out, but 2026 should showcase Unreal Engine 5 at its stablest and most user-friendly. Number 7. All of these original games. As thrilled as we are to dive back into the world of so many named IPs, 2026 is also set to be one hell of a year for banger original games. After all, the games industry can only truly grow with a steady slew of totally unique titles with no rooting in existing franchises, and so the next 12 months should produce them in spades. Just a few of the marquee titles include Returnal developer Housemarque's new game Saros, Pragmata from Capcom, From Software's The Duskbloods, Clockwork Revolution, Stranger Than Heaven, Reanimal, Exodus, Mixtape, and Replaced, just to name a few. Easy though as it is to bemoan the industry's tireless reliance on known quantities, these games and many others are proof perfect that there's still a whole ton of originality to go around. And of course, there are sure to be many unique new games in the indie sphere that become surprise smash hits totally out of nowhere. After all, none of us even knew about the existence of Blueprints until a year ago, and look at it now. Number 6. The Switch 2 hits its stride. The Nintendo Switch 2 has enjoyed a pretty solid first 6 months on the market, with acclaimed first-party titles like Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond that are helping push the console to storming commercial success. And yet, it's certainly not reached the heights of the original Switch's stacked first year, and frankly, if you picked up a Switch 2 primarily for exclusives, you might be left a tad wanting for now. But it's incredibly common for consoles to fully find their feet during their second year on the market, and so there's little reason to expect any difference from the Switch 2. In addition to shiny new versions of classic Switch titles like Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Animal Crossing New Horizons, we're also going to get totally new exclusive offerings like Mario Tennis Fever, The Duskbloods, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, Pokemon Pocopia, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, and quite possibly Splatoon Raiders. By the end of 2026, the Switch 2 will be a far more compelling option for anyone who wasn't inspired to pick up one on launch, and that's without even getting into the unannounced titles that Nintendo will reveal over the next coming months. A new Mario 3D game seems incredibly likely, and it just also might be time for Nintendo to pull the trigger on a new Super Smash Bros. As well. Number 5. Gamers get more options than ever. Perhaps the single greatest thing about modern gaming is the sheer mind-boggling number of options that players have available to them. With the handheld explosion of the last few years, you now no longer need to be tethered to a wired piece of hardware and a TV. With devices like the Switch, Steam Deck, ROG, Xbox, Ally, and so on, the vast majority of games can meet you wherever you are. Beyond that, cloud gaming has also finally come into its own. Between Xbox Cloud Gaming, the success of PlayStation Portal, and GeForce Now feeling shockingly close to native gaming experiences in optimum conditions. These technologies simply make it easier to keep playing no matter where you are or what you're doing, and it's only likely to get better and more frictionless in 2026. After all, persistent rumors indicate that Sony is working on their own native handheld to accompany the PlayStation 6, which may well be able to play PS4, PS5, and even PS6 titles in some capacity. There's also a good chance that we learn more about this in the coming year ahead of the 2027 launch. All in all, 2026 should make gaming even more accessible than it's ever been. Number 4. A year of milestone anniversaries. 2026 will also be a seriously stacked year for milestone anniversaries in beloved gaming franchises, and typically publishers like to celebrate these milestones by giving fans, well, something. First and foremost, both The Legend of Zelda and Metroid turn 40 years old in 2026, and while Metroid Prime 4 has already been released, it seems highly likely that Nintendo will announce a new Zelda game this coming year. Whether that's a direct follow-up to Tears of the Kingdom, a spin-off, or a remake of a beloved classic, of course, well, that remains to be seen. Elsewhere, Dragon's Quest will also turn 40, Sonic turns 35, the Nintendo 64 and Pokemon franchises both hit the big 3-0, and Animal Crossing and the Xbox both turn 25. While not every anniversary milestone necessarily indicates a megaton announcement, it's historically a convenient time for companies to reveal what's coming next while also celebrating a property's storied legacy. Number 3. Next-gen excitement reaches fever pitch. Now, in fairness, the current generation of gaming feels like it's only just starting to realize its potential, in large part due to the pandemic slowing games development down and resulting in an abundance of cross-generation titles. And so, even though it might seem a little early to start thinking about the PS6 and Next box, the reality is that they're still expected to launch late 2027 or early 2028 at the latest. It's basically an open secret that these consoles are already deep in development, and so it's incredibly likely that we'll hear credible leaks about them by the end of 2026, pertaining to their hardware architecture, their form factor, and business philosophy moving forward. And while so many of us might not be feeling the need to upgrade from our current consoles for a good while, this tune will probably change as we get closer to the new hardware being revealed and word getting out about what Sony and Microsoft are actually cooking up. It's incredibly difficult not to get swept up in the hype for a new games console, and though the marketing offense won't fully kick in until 2027, we're probably going to have a decent idea of what the consoles are by the end of 2026. Number 2. Steam expands its hardware family. And even if you're not ready to yet start salivating over the PS6 and Next box, 2026 will see Valve expand their hardware efforts in a major way. The Steam Deck has been a firm success within its recognizable niche, but in the next year, Valve will also release 3 new flagship products. First up, there's the Steam Machine, a powerful gaming PC within the tiny form factor of a 6-inch cube. Then there's the Steam Frame, a standalone VR headset that can also be used to stream games from your PC. And then finally, there's the Steam Controller, a new controller that borrows heavily from the layout and design of the Steam Deck. While Valve won't be establishing themselves as a viable contender to Sony or Nintendo anytime soon, they're clearly aiming at a different market: PC-curious players who want the freedom of a desktop computer without the associated headaches. More options in the mainstream hardware space are almost always a good thing, and considering the versatility and user-friendly nature of Steam, it's great to see Valve giving players even more ways to enjoy their libraries. Plus, there's a good chance we also get an update on the Steam Deck 2, even though Valve has already made it clear we shouldn't expect it to release for a good old while. And number 1, Half-Life 3 might actually finally happen. Yeah, we're gonna say it, 2026 might actually be the year that Half-Life 3 finally comes out. The non-existence of Valve's long-awaited threequel is a meme that's basically old enough to drive at this point, but it became a little easier to believe that Half-Life 3 would happen eventually following the release of 2020's VR masterpiece, Half-Life Alyx. And yet, every year without fail, we hear apparently credible murmurs that Half-Life 3 is in development and its announcement is imminent. Only for diddly squat to happen, as Gabe Newell presumably laughs at us from his fleet of super yachts. But the rumor mongers are at it again, with even prominent industry insiders implying that players might finally get their hands on Half-Life 3 in 2026. After all, with all the aforementioned hardware that Valve is releasing this coming year, what better game to launch as their collective killer app? Tell us we're wrong. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 reasons that 2026 will be the best year for gaming. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Instagram and Blue Sky, where I'm at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Hope to see you over there, my friends. Hope you're treating yourself well with love and respect, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.